Hey guys, it's Luke from Mix and Made Simple, and today I'm going to be talking about John Summit's mastering chain, which I honestly think is going to shock you once you see it. Now, John did a video with Variety recently on their YouTube channel, and I'll post a link to that in the description below, where he broke down his track Shiver featuring Hala. Now, I plan to do a reaction video to this entire video soon, but I really wanted to focus just on the mastering chain for this particular video, because trust me guys, this is really great news. What it demonstrates is that there is no special sauce or some special mastering plugin or special chain that the pros use and that we are like not aware of or something like that. It really just comes down to skill and having a really great mix. And anyway, without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump to the video. Okay, so I have the video here. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it and then pause it and kind of comment on it as we go. So let's go ahead and play it and take a listen to what he has to say.
This basically more or less is the final mix down. What I'll do from here is I'll export everything and like really clean it up and then put it in groups. So like drums, bass, and then kind of get really detailed with like the EQ and stuff. Because then from here, you got to listen to multiple different sound sources, like in the studio, at a club, inside a car, and all of that. So it's all tinkering. And then I've been using.
Okay, so real quick, what he's saying there is basically he's going to work a lot on the mix and he's going to really finalize the mix and tinker with a lot and just make sure the mix is really good before he even gets to the mastering stage. So I just wanted to point that out.
The same master chain since I did YouTube tutorials back in 2020. It's simple EQ. I'll bring down the low end because I think the low end's a little hard on this, but I saturate, add a little bit of compression, and then the limiter.
Okay, so that's funny. He's been using the same mastering chain for quite a while, and really what that tells me is that he just really focuses on getting a really good sounding track and a good mix, and so that when you get to the mastering chain, it doesn't really matter that much. You don't have to change it up. And it is a pretty typical mastering chain. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it right now. So if you go ahead and take a look, the only untypical thing I see is on his EQ. He's doing quite a bit of boosting on the low end and the high end, which for me, I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably just try to go back into the mix and make those adjustments. But you know, it's clearly working out for John Summit. It's John Summit. So if that's what he wants to do and it's working for him, then like go for it. So he has the EQ here going into some saturation, which is just adding on to that little bit of analog warmth, like adding some nice saturation, subtle saturation to the overall track to add some richness and some warmth to it. And then he's got the compressor. And to me, what I see here is a 2-to-1 ratio, which is typically it's pretty good because on mastering, you want to make like subtle changes. If you start doing drastic changes on the master, it's just going to be a little bit too much. And so 2-to-1 ratio is really subtle. And I see a really slow attack time here. And so what I think he's trying to do here is that anything that goes above this threshold with a slow attack, it's letting a lot kind of pop through. And so he's letting things pop through and they're going to kind of emphasize and just kind of add some more punch to whatever is getting through. Everything that goes above that threshold, he's just trying to add a little punch to it is basically what he's trying to do with a slow attack time like that. And then finally, this is the funniest thing to me. It's like the most like mind blowing is that he has the Ableton limiter on there. And it's really funny to me because he looks like he just took it, put it on there, didn't do anything to it at all except for crank the input gain about 4 dB. It's on, the release is on auto. And he didn't take the ceiling down. A lot of times we'll take the ceiling down to like -0.1 to prevent inner sample peaking when we export. And he didn't even do that. And also the look ahead time, he just kept the same. So he literally took the limiter, just put it on the end, put up the makeup gain, and that's it. And I just think that's awesome. And it's really funny. And honestly, up until this moment, I would have probably said like, hey, you know, you should probably have a paid plugin for the limiter, you know, FabFilter Pro L or Invisible limiter, something like that. It's probably going to sound better than the stock plugin where you're kind of limited in the functionality. But then, you know, here we go. You got one of the best producers in the world using the Ableton limiter stock plugin. And I just think that's it's amazing. So let's go ahead and keep playing.
But I saturate, add a little bit of compression, and then the limiter. I'll make sure it just doesn't go past -6. Why is that my rule? I don't know. I got told that when I was younger and I've been going with it since and it's been working.
So you don't want to add too much gain into the limiter. You don't want to go past too much gain reduction to the limiter because it can add some distortion or some pumping effect. Like you start to get stuff that you don't want if you're doing too much gain reduction to the limiter. So that's basically why he does that.
I don't know if I'm the right guy to ask about mixing and mastering, because my whole thought process with that is just keep tinkering until it sounds right. All mastering is making things louder. I don't know, it's another situation. You can't put lipstick on a pig. So if you add a masking chain and it sounds like shit, your mix sounds like shit. So I guess rule number one is make sure it sounds good on a crappy speaker. And then eventually I think you finish on like a nice sound treated room.
So that's hilarious. He probably pissed off a lot of mastering engineers by saying that, but I totally agree with him. And the basic thing, this is what I say all the time, is that you can make a good mix sound, you can make a great mix sound better with mastering. You can't fix a bad mix with mastering. So with his whole thing with the lipstick on the pig, it's like, if your track sucks, you're not going to like use some master chain to make it sound better. It's really all about having a really, really great mix and then either exporting and sending to a master engineer or mastering yourself and just doing what he did and kind of getting it ready for release. Because if your mix is great, the track is great, the mastering doesn't matter a whole lot. And that's really just the truth of it.
I was an accountant while DJing on the side and never imagined that I would be full-time DJ producer, traveling the world, playing all these big parties and festivals. The lyrics really reflect that too, because I really do want this forever. It's a crazy fucking lifestyle and I really do thrive in it.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, he's living like the good life. We know every EDM producer, if you're a passionate EDM producer, we all wish we could be doing what he's doing, making awesome music, getting paid a lot of money to do it, and traveling the world playing epic shows in front of tons of people. I mean, that's like the life, right? Especially if you love producing EDM. And so the big takeaway from this is that if one of the biggest EDM producers in the world is using stock plugins, that means you can too, and then we can all do that to achieve a really great sound. I am going to go through this entire video soon and react to it because he does use like paid for synths. He's using Diva and stuff like that. And he's obviously working with an amazing singer-songwriter, Hala. And so if you have that vocal to work with, that obviously helps a lot too. But the whole point is, you know, look at his mastering chain. He's using all Ableton stock plugins, and he's using a lot of stock plugins in the mix itself. And so it's just really inspiring. And I wanted to show that to you guys, especially if you're feeling like you are just not getting to that professional level sound and you think that you need to buy a certain plugin or, you know, spend tons of money on speakers or whatever. It's just not the case. It really just depends on your skill level and knowing how to use the tools that you have at your disposal. Okay, so I hope that video really helped. And if you are an EDM producer and you're wanting to get good at mixing and mastering as quickly as possible and really get your tracks to that professional level sound, I want to go ahead and show you my course Mix Immersions real quick. And so what it is, it's more than just a course. It's also a community where you can ask me questions anytime you want and also do a weekly video call with me. But also, if you check out the course here, this is the course where I teach you everything you need to know. There's all these modules. I do a deep dive on compression. You know, by the time you're through the compression part of the course, you'll know when, why, how to use compression. And then I do, you know, I mix and master several tracks from start to finish. It's really helpful. And then of course we've got the community here. And, you know, like I said, you can ask questions anytime you want. And we do a weekly video call with me, ask anything. And it's really like a, not just a course, but also kind of like a mentorship. So if there's something you're interested in, then go ahead and look in the description below. Book a Zoom call with me. We'll see if you're a right fit. It's just a conversation that we'll have, see if you're a right fit for the course. And anyway, I look forward to talking to you soon. I hope this video helped once again, and I will see you guys again next time.